Good afternoon, good evening. It is time for today's Tax Talk. I am your host. I'm attorney Stephen Leahy. It is Crypto Tuesday, February 28th, the year of our Lord 2023. And this is a picture. This is. Can't have that. I am your host. Can't have that. Anyway. It is time for today's tax talk. Anyway, this is the SEC chairman, Gensler, and he is he's coming against crypto, and there's a lot of cases against this. We're going to talk about that today. We're talking about the SEC and regulation of cryptocurrency. They're trying to, I think, maybe even trying to regulate it out of existence in America. Is that possible? Well, let's talk about it. Here, won't you join us? Well, again, there's this. Let us find this. I always like to start. That is Crypto Tuesday. Where do we start with Crypto Tuesday? We always start at coinflip.tech to look at the markets. Give me a moment because I had not pulled it up. That's why it was it was repeating what I said. I was on the wrong page. But here we go. We always like to start with the market. So let's go to the market. Here we go. And here's the market. This is now kind of down for the day. I don't know why there's having a problem with the 7 days, but again, I always like to notice how they all move similarly. At least Ethereum and Bitcoin move very similar, and but the market's a little bit down. There are those who are saying that the market's going to fall further, but there's always that happening, right? There's always those saying that. And we'll have to wait and see what's going to happen. But that's where we always like to start. The next, let me go here, and we'll pull up my next story because I can do this. Because right before I came on the air, I had a story picked, like I often do, and but I change it right before I come on the air because that's what's going on. I always look at the news because I want to get the most recent news, because that's what. So this is the story that I was. Let's go to this story. There's actually two good stories today about very similar things. This SEC Gensler, and so let's go to this. Let's go to this story. Crypto lawyers flame Gensler over claims that all cryptos are securities. Now, we've been talking about this on this show about who's going to win the commodities futures exchange or the SEC. Now, we all know the SEC is much more powerful, have a lot more funds, a lot more money available than does the other board. So they're probably going to win. And then they have this Gensler. Now, before I go into this, I want to remind everybody about his connection to this Bakerman-Fried. And there is a connection here. Look into that yourself. But let's talk about this. Crypto lawyers flame Gensler over claims that all crypto are securities. Crypto lawyers weighed in on Gabriel Gensler's crypto regulation claims, saying that the Securities and Exchange Commission has no legal standing to police the space. Cryptocurrency lawyers have rebuffed comments made by the head of the United States securities regulator, who claimed in a recent interview that every cryptocurrency except Bitcoin, why not Bitcoin, is a security that falls under its jurisdiction. In a wide-ranging February 23rd New York Magazine interview discussing crypto, Securities and Exchange Commissioner Chair Gary Gensler claimed everything other than Bitcoin falls under the agency's remit. He also he added other crypto projects are securities because there's a group in the middle and the public is anticipating profits based on that group, which he said is not the case with Bitcoin. Gensler in a New York magazine. So here's a quote, and I just wanted to. Everything is a security except Bitcoin. Every company out there is in violation, and crypto is pointless, but blockchain is kind of neat. He's not the only one that I've heard voice that opinion. Hard to argue what you're acting in good faith if admittedly trying to stamp out an entire industry. And I agree with that. There's a court case. We're going to get into that if we can get into the second. I have one more story that we can get into. A lawyer and policy lead at the crypto advocacy group of the Blockchain Association, of which I am a member, just as an aside, argued, however, in February 23rd tweet that Gensler's opinion is not the law, despite his claimed command over the crypto sector. Chair Gensler may have prejudged that every digital asset aside from Bitcoin is a security, but his opinion is not the law. The SEC lacks authority to regulate any of them until and unless it proves its case in court for each asset, every single one, individually, one at a time. Well, that would be a pretty tall order, wouldn't it? He added, and until and unless the SEC proves it in court for its jurisdiction over each individual token, one at a time, then it lacks authority to regulate any of them. Lawyer Logan Bollinger also chimed in, tweeting on February 26th that Gensler's opinions on what is and isn't a security are not legally dispositive, meaning it's not the final legal determination. Friendly reminder that Gensler's opinions on what is and what isn't a security are not legally dispositive. In this country, judges, not SEC chairs, ultimately determine what the law means and how it applies. Doesn't mean his thoughts are irrelevant. They're just not dispositive. And that's true. Judges, and it is true that his opinions hold value and mean something. And it does mean that he's going after a lot of crypto companies, exchanges, as saying that they're securities. The policy lead and advocacy body, Bitcoin Policy Institute, Jason Brett, said Gensler's comments shouldn't be celebrated, but fears. I agree with that. And stated there are many ways to win over other than via a regulatory moat. The Gary Gensler thing is no bueno. There are ways to win other than via regulatory moat. And anytime this is the way, the script can be flipped. And before you know it, everyone is crying due process. Gensler's comments in New York magazine shouldn't be celebrated, but feared. I love when all of our news comes from some Twitter feed. Meanwhile, Gabriel Shapiro, the general counsel at investment firm Delphi Labs, outlined in a series of tweets, here it is again, more tweets, that seemingly impossible enforcement that the SEC would have to carry out on the industry to cement its rule. Shapiro said that over 12,300 tokens worth about $663 billion are, according to Gensler, unregistered securities that are illegal in the U.S., as mentioned by this attorney. The agency would have to file a lawsuit against each token creator. The SEC has handled crypto in two main ways, according to Shapiro, either fining token creators and requiring the issuer to register, or fining them and ordering that the created tokens be destroyed and delisted from exchanges. So far, the SEC has handled tokens, I'm not going to read the tweet again. SEC registration is not only too expensive for most token creators, there is also no path for registration of tokens. What is the plan? We are wondering, and billions of Americans' dollars are at risks. And that's the truth. What is the plan? And again, I've been warning people that this is what it seems like now remember, in China they did outlaw crypto. It hasn't disappeared, but they have outlawed it. Is that and I've been warning that might be what's coming here to America, that they're trying to ban crypto. Why would they want to do that? Well, it's a threat to the monetary policy and the control of government, isn't it? Well, I think it is. So there's a lot happening here, And this SEC's chair's comments are coming under scrutiny. So let's look to that. So Ripple asks SEC chair to recuse self from crypto enforcement cases. Well, how could he do that, right? He'd have to from any enforcement case? Yes, from any enforcement case. Ripple's chief legal officer asked the U.S. SEC chairman, Gary Gensler, to recuse himself from voting on any enforcement case related to cryptocurrency because he has prejudged the issue. In a February 28th tweet, he alluded that Gensler's statement that every cryptocurrency except BTC is an unregistered security was evidence of his disposition towards other crypto assets. The Ripple official cited a legal case between Antonia and the SEC as a basis for his argument. Now, I did read that case about this, that prior statements were held to be create a bias and must be and force the SEC to recuse itself. So there is precedent for this. In that case, the SEC's attempt to permanently ban a stockbroker from getting employment from a securities firm was foiled because the commissioner of the regulator had prejudged the case with his public statements. He had said that the guy was a thief and he would never let him in. And that was before before he had a trial, or a hearing, I should say. The court ruled that there was no way to ascertain how the commissioner's participation against the SEC's deliberations, adding that the commissioner's continued involvement in the disbarment proceeding violated due process. SEC's chairman, Gary Gensler, has repeatedly stated that most crypto assets are securities. Under him, the financial regulator has brought enforcement actions against several crypto firms for violating federal securities law. Meanwhile, the SEC and Ripple are still embroiled in a legal tussle over the classification of XRP. So there you have it. What do you think? Should he have to recuse himself because of his statements? It's pretty clear what he thinks. And so are all these crypto companies or creators going to get a fair shake when determining? Doesn't sound like it. Sounds like he's already determined that all but Bitcoin are securities. If they all are deemed securities, they're all going to be illegal. If they're all illegal, then there is no more crypto market, is there? Except for Bitcoin, according to the SEC chair. And that's a problem. Something to think about. I love but this is something we've been talking about on this show for a long time, about the tussle now between who's going to control it. But now it's coming down to not even control, but eliminating cryptocurrency. Is that something you ever thought about? Did you think that could happen? I never really. Some months ago, we started hearing from this Gensler about when they appointed. I think they appointed him last summer as the chairman, and ever since then, he's been going through like a bull in a china shop, going after everybody except for Sam Bankman-Fried, who turned out to have a connection with him. Interesting, isn't it? Anyway, thanks so much for joining us. I appreciate you taking the time. I love Crypto Tuesday. I hope you do too. And I'm going to ask you to like and subscribe. I don't know why it's not there, but it's not. And I'm going to ask. And remember, if you have a IRS problem and you don't know what to do, you owe the IRS money, you have unfiled tax returns, and you don't know what to do, here's what you should do. Get a copy of my book, Deal with Your IRS Problem Today. Go to freeirsbook.com. That's freeirsbook.com. Get your free copy. I will pay for the publishing if you pay for the shipping and handling. So go to freeirsbook.com and get your free copy. Thanks so much for joining us here today. We will return tomorrow with more stories about the IRS and other tax issues. Or sometimes we do bankruptcy stuff. Sometimes we do foreclosure. Not very often. If there's a big story, though, we will cover that. So thanks so much for joining us. And God bless you. And we will return tomorrow. For today, we are now out.